watched both episodes, newest episodes of Agatha All Along, episode 3, and The Penguin, episode 2. So I thought I'd talk about both. I'll probably still put this out as a recorded option before the next episodes come out. But I want to talk about both. We'll start with the good, okay? And I'll start with Agatha All Along. Agatha All Along, episode 3. It was a good episode. That's it. No, it was a good episode. I think what I liked about it though was we were finally getting into the trials. So we're getting into the trials. They have to prove themselves in multiple different ways before they get to the end. One, there was nothing gay in the episode, really, you know, like it was just a straight episode, but it was the wine mom episode. Literally, they all got poisoned with wine and had to figure out an antidote or a cauldron of sorts type potion to rid themselves of it. And that's the episode. But in the episode, you're finding out that there are demons that they kind of have that they haven't really talked about. And we're seeing aspects of that in the episode. Apparently we see Death, like the character Death in the episode. I didn't know if that's really where they were going with that, because I think that's a different character, but they claim that we saw Death in this episode. Maybe we did. It was if you watch the episode, one of the characters has a vision. They see this little girl and they follow her in this house that just appeared. And they go to the girl. She's then like a really old, decrepit looking person at a table. And then you see this person come behind them, veiled, and it's just a skull for a face. Apparently that was Death, from what I've seen. If it was, cool. If not, I'm okay with that too. But because I feel like why not do Death? Maybe they didn't have the rights to it, but you know, Death is their whole reason Thanos does his thing in what for us is Endgame and all that kind of stuff. But the Infinity War scenario, he's trying to prove his love to Death, and that's why he does what he does. Anyway, if that's where they were going with that, I mean, cool. But I felt that this was a good episode because you're getting more background on each character. I feel like they were finally kind of like letting themselves go a little bit to help us to connect to them a little bit. Not Teen, not really, but the other witches in the coven, yes. And then Deborah Jo Rupp's character, the lady from that 70s show, the mom, was her name Kitty on that show? She's really good in the episode, even though something happens to her that I don't know if it's real or not, but we'll see in episode 4. But I actually really enjoyed the episode. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is fantastic, because it's a very different tone compared to like other things we've seen. But I like that they're going more the dark route with the show. So that I actually appreciated. And that's why I liked it. Surprisingly, it doesn't do a whole lot. It puts a little, like some moments where it's trying to be jokey. It doesn't really land all that well. But I actually still did enjoy the episode. And I thought that this is what episode 2 should have been. It took 2 episodes for us to get here. And the episodes 1 and 2 could have been conjoined or combined into one episode. And then this could be episode 2. But we're here. We're good. And I think it's only like 8 or maybe 9 episodes in this season. But overall, I liked that it gave us a light into each person's history. Because all these witches are like hundreds of years old. So they've experienced some stuff. But I like that we got little tidbits that added to the mystery. They do continue the whole Teen thing with his mouth being covered and you can't hear what he says when he says his name. So they know that he has some type of curse or glamour on him that's preventing him from being able to say his name. Someone's put some type of spell on him, and it prevents witches from like knowing who he is. So eventually that's going to come out to light. Again, I know who it is. I'm still trying to figure out who Aubrey Plaza's character is. I think she's a character that was teased in this episode as far as her name, because we got her name, but I think she's somebody else. So there's a couple different aspects in there that it worked for this episode. Much better than episode 1 and 2. I will say that. Definitely much better than episode 1 and 2. So if you're on the fence, this still wouldn't be the episode that would get you in, because most people are like, oh, this is for wine moms. And this episode specifically is for wine moms. It's like literally wine is a big facet of the episode as far as something that's happening to them and leads them into these hallucinations and trying to get out of it. So it's definitely a wine mom episode, which is fine, but it's if that's the reason that you don't want to watch it, this will not be the episode that kicks you into gear into watching this show. But it is a good episode. I will say that it's a very good episode and it works. And if they kind of continue things from here, I'm cool with that. There was no musical numbers, so I was actually okay with that too. The musical number in episode 2 was fine because it was like a witch's seance type song, and it went with what was happening. But there's no music or songs, not music, but there's no songs or singing in this episode, which I was good with. I know it's going to come later, whatever, but this one was pretty much a straightforward, we're going to give you little tidbits of information for each character outside of Teen and outside of Deborah Jo Rupp's character. All the witches in the coven, we get a little tidbit on each of them, which I thought was nice. It helped me like want to know more, but not in this I don't know, like trick way, like, you know, oh, there's this, like it's just more of like a, hey, here's a little bit more information, you know, what kind of their background is on what they can do while they're in the coven. Here's a little bit more that's gonna, you know, whet your appetite. We'll show more later. I was okay with that. So this episode was fine. Not a whole lot I have to say on that one, but it was this one was an episode that led me to this point of, oh, you know what? Okay, I think I do want to keep watching. I was on the fence. I was like, this episode sucks. I might wait till all the episodes are out and then continue watching. But episode 3 was actually pretty good. I don't know if they can keep that on that trajectory necessarily, but it wouldn't be that hard to do technically. Just start answering some stuff as we go, so we'll see where it goes. So yeah, so we started with the good, which was episode 3. Gotta be very specific. Episode 3 of Agatha All Along. Now let's go to the fantastic. There's no bad here really, but the fantastic was the Penguin episode 3. The show just continues to one up itself, which I love. There's two things with the show too. I think one is it's doing things in a relatively simple way. It's not trying to over complicate the story. You know exactly what's going on. You know what the end game or end goal is for the Penguin right from the first episode. And that's one thing that this show has over Agatha All Along. It did everything that Agatha All Along did in 2 episodes in 1. And so now, even though Penguin is at episode 2 and Agatha All Along is at episode 3, it's almost like they're at the same place, story-wise. But it took Penguin just 2 episodes to do it, where Agatha All Along, it took 3. But Penguin, all the characters are fantastic. Colin Farrell as Penguin is great, obviously. That's the reason you watch the show. But Kristen Milioti, she plays Sophia Falcone. She's really good, like fantastically good, in a way where you want to know more about her background of what got her into Arkham Asylum. They gave a little bit more of that in this episode by like some news clippings and whether it's a newspaper or things you hear on the news from the reporters, but you don't know what's true and what's like fabricated and what's embellished. But at the same time, you know she's crazy too, though. That's the thing. You know that there's no scenario where she's not crazy. You know she's crazy. So there's that. But it's really good to just see how the story unfolds. Now, on the flip side, there are some aspects of the show where it can feel kind of familiar because, again, if you've watched The Sopranos, if you've watched the Godfather movies, if you watch Game of Thrones, there's a lot of things in this that will feel familiar. There's nothing like really new that's happening here. It's just happening in the Gotham universe. I think that's why I really enjoy it. And again, the characters bring you in and the scenarios they get in bring you in. The fact that Penguin's already been in 2 almost death scenarios, like certain death scenarios in 2 back-to-back episodes, that's what makes me wonder, how can they keep this going? And who wants to live a life like this? But the fact that he's already had that happen in 2 back-to-back episodes is pretty insane. But the way he gets out of things, the way he talks himself out of situations, the way he talks himself into situations sometimes, it's just fun to watch. You connect to the moment. I think that's what really helps this show. And that's why I really enjoy it. Every conversation he has with somebody, you know, it's him trying to work his way into either their psyche or just into a situation where they can assist him or help him to get, risen to be top dog in this whole mob boss endeavor he's trying to do. And his mom doesn't help. I mean, that's what she wants for him at the end of the day, even though nobody knows that she even exists or that she's still alive, because he tells stories. He's always got to make sure he's keeping up with all the lies and the stories that he tells. And you notice it over and over again. And I wonder if he's going to get caught at some point, because he talks to Sophia Falcone and he talks about his mom and his love for his mom. And I love the way that he has these conversations, because you learn more about him. You learn more about him in the way that he's telling these stories. So you're getting background from these stories. Even though some of them are lies, there's some truth in the lies. And so it's not him just like reliving moments or them having to show you. He can tell you and it feels like you've seen it. It feels like you've experienced it almost. And that's just one. It's good storytelling. It's good writing, for one. And it's good delivery from the actors, which, again, Colin Farrell's, he's dope. But every actor in here brings their A game. So even when things don't go right, he still finds a way to like be on top of his feet. And I'm probably not saying that right, but he finds a way to still figure out the situation and turn it around in his favor. And it's cool to just see how it happens and how it flows. And you're there with him through it all. So you're seeing every aspect of it. Episode 1 had a little bait and switch where he told Victor something to do, and we didn't realize that until the end. But in this one, we're seeing different things happen to Penguin, and we're seeing how he puts this plan together. Even when things don't go right, we still see the overall outcome and how he shifted and maneuvered and juked around different things to still make it work out for him. And it still does. But there's going to be some type of comeuppance, at some point before he gets to that top bar where he wants to be. There's going to be something that kind of brings him down a little bit. And I'm wondering if that's going to still happen in this season. Even though, again, it is a limited season, or it's a limited, series. So there's only going to be the one season as of now. Maybe it might do very well. Who knows? But with that being said, there's a lot they have to do in the season. And that's why I understand episode 1 and 2, again, already crazy, to a point now where he's teamed up with someone that you don't think he really should be, but he sees this person as a way to get to that next level. Kind of by putting them in power a little bit. But again, you gotta watch the episode to check it out. I don't want to give spoilers necessarily, but I just want to talk about the aspects of the show and what makes it work, and how, in comparison, if I were to do a versus between Agatha Long and the Penguin, again, the writing style is just so much better. It's more of an adult show, even though Agatha Long in moments can be kind of adult as well. Not anywhere near as as graphic yet as the Penguin, but the Penguin just has better writing. The way it goes about its story is just more engaging. And Agatha Long, while the characters, some of them you might enjoy, like Agatha is the best part of the show so far. Aubrey Plaza is good too. The way they go about the delivery is just okay. It's just okay. It's nothing really to write home about. It doesn't have the same lasting effect that WandaVision had, even though on the second watch, like a second viewing of that series, it doesn't work all that well for me. But when it first came out, it was like, that's all you were talking about. That's all people were talking about. They were waiting for the next episode. Agatha all along, like when the episode 3 ended and I was like, oh man, that's crazy. I immediately was like, next week we got another episode, whatever, but I'm not like highly anticipating what's going to happen next. Even though they have the trials going on, they have different things happening, I'm not hype about it like I would be, or like I was with WandaVision. Penguin, you want to see what happens next. You want to see what other type of situation he's going to put himself in. You want to see how certain characters are going to respond to certain things that are happening. Like Victor, who's essentially his right-hand man, or his driver, the guy he's pretty much made his kind of slave, almost in a sense. You're going to learn more information about him. And you're kind of seeing more and more about like how he's feeling about the different things that they're doing. Because he's doing some stuff that he's never done. He's a kid. But he's got relationships outside of what he's doing with Penguin. He's got people that care about him. We're going to eventually learn more about that. So there's still kind of spreading the wealth as far as like how these characters are living within this world, Gotham, which is a character in itself. I think it's pretty dope. That's the part that I really love. Like, Gotham feels like a character. Now, there are aspects of Agatha All Along, if I'm speaking to it now, where the Witch's Road feels like a character. Very minimal, but in the Penguin, Gotham feels like a character unto itself. And that I really enjoy. I think it's great. And it's due, because Gotham City is just one of those dope places where, we think, oh, it's like Chicago mixed with New York, maybe a little bit of Detroit, or a lot of bit of Detroit. And it's a character unto itself. It really doesn't need to be compared to something else. Personally, that's just me. And I think that the Batman did a really good comparison, or a really good depiction of Gotham. And this show is doing a really good version of that too. To the point where I hope the Batman 2 can kind of live up. Because the Penguins kind of put it up to another level when it comes to how it's showing the city. And the city in itself is a character. So I hope the Batman 2 can live up to that. But again, if you've watched it, let me know your thoughts on the Penguin. Also, let me know your thoughts on Agatha All Along as well. Again, episode 3 was great of Agatha All Along. Not great, but it was good and watchable. It's fine. I didn't roll my eyes at any point watching the episode. But the Penguin continues to up the ante in its delivery and how it's going about its story. And I really enjoy that. I think you would too if you like that kind of stuff. It's just a different way of going about the superhero genre. And even some of the changes they've made with like the Maroni family and things of that nature, it works in this type of world of Gotham, essentially. There's like they're less Italian and more Persians almost, but it's kind of cool because it adds a different dynamic to the mob lifestyle, the mob mentality. And so I actually kind of enjoyed that too. So even just some of the changes they've made have worked. Nothing crazy so far, but nothing like a female penguin like in the Cape Crusader animated show, which I still have to finish. I'm like 3 episodes in. But yeah, nothing crazy yet, which I hope they don't do anything really crazy. But I'm really enjoying that show. Every performance has been great so far. The way they go about the story, even when I think I know what's about to happen, they flip it on its head a little bit and they trick you. But you're still invested. You're still in. And you're still surprised. Like, it still throws surprises at you, even when they have things that you may have seen before. That I actually really enjoy. I think it's just great how they're going about it. So in the comments when you get a chance, let me know your thoughts on both of these shows, Agatha All Along, episode 3, if you watched it, and The Penguin, episode 2, if you've checked it out. Let me know your thoughts. This is just a quick rundown on my end as far as putting my thoughts out there for this live, and just kind of an additional live this week, which I thought would be fun. But hopefully you enjoyed this, and I look forward to you guys' thoughts if you have any. As always, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.